Botani, and welcome to the Sheds. We're back once again in our quest to find out who is going to emerge victorious in these elections. Is it the UDM or is it any other political party? Joining us today is the president of the UDM.
We must change this mentality that is we are studying in order to go and get a job. But we must invest in these kids as future wealth creators.
Be entrepreneurs.
Yes. So in that way we will be able now to spread. Why must we take the coal out and manganese out every day instead of processing it here? The Afrikaners in 1948, they were poor like us, but they established capital or access to capital. Now, if you want to start something, you have to go to a Standard Bank or ABSA or this and that. But if we have a national fund which is going to be divided along the 9 provinces.
Botani, and welcome to the Sheds. We're back once again in our quest to find out who is going to emerge victorious in these elections. Is it the UDM or is it any other political party? Joining us today is the president of the UDM. One man was once fired by the biggest political organization in this country. Tata Molan, welcome to the Sheds.
Thank you.
Ayitara sifuna ukuva nje into yobana lo mcimbi wokuzabalaza ukulwa nokuthini. And one thing I want to first find out, had you not been fired by the ANC, try and place yourself within the ANC as it is today, where do you think you would be?
I think if I was still in the ANC, I would be more at the back.
Okay.
Because even at the time I left the ANC, although I was voted or received the most vote in 1994's National Congress, but I was always still learning, keen to learn the culture of ANC and the policies and their style. Must remember that my background is military. So in the military, you do your own appreciation first. You don't just follow anything that moves.
So you'll not be a Minister of Defense?
No,
by any chance?
no. That issue of appointing a cabinet is not your choice.
Yes.
It's for the president.
Okay.
And the president, 9 out of 10 times, he consults with his top 6 of the movement. But that's history now. Let's talk about future.
Exactly. What do you think what is your view on the current state of the National Defense Force? It's recently come under criticism and all of that. Do you subscribe to the view that says we have got a weak defense? Some people are saying if we were to be invaded, we would be found wanting, such that everyone now is encouraged to get a gun because they are left to their own.
It is unfortunate that we copied a system elsewhere, wherein for the first time we said the SANDF will be under a civilian oversight. And that meant that the accounting officer can be anybody who has been grabbed in the street and become a secretary of defense.
Yes.
And at some stage, I think even the strategy was headed by civilians. You don't do that. What I would have liked to see is for the civilian oversight to be housed in the office of the minister. And then you let the commander of the defense force apply the policies of defense as well as the profession in particular. But unfortunately, the fellows who are heading the defense rely on the accounting officer to go and negotiate for a better budget for them. And that is not working because when they motivate for more money to buy equipment, ammunition, to them, some of these operations, they have no clue If we had taken someone who was a soldier before, like in other countries, in USA, in Britain, or Russia, you wouldn't be a Secretary of Defense if you didn't go through the military training. Here at home, you grab anyone in the street. So they are clueless. And now the soldiers there, their morale is low. They would demand to say, we want uniform. And it takes time, or 18 months before it arrives. We want better boots. Because if you deploy people, you have to analyze the land where they are going to operate. What kind of a boot, what kind of uniform would suit? Imagine wearing this khaki uniform of ours, which is thick, and you send them to DRC and it's hot, it's humid. So there is a lot of there are a lot of things which needs to be looked into. But depending on the doctrine, our doctrine is influenced by the Constitution, which is underpinned by the rights. But at the same time, we must never compromise the training of the soldiers.
As a follow-up, Mr. Holomisa, to Nyaniso's question, in terms of South Africa, we know we used to be regarded as the powerhouse in Africa, military speaking, in terms of keeping peace in the SADC and the rest of Africa. How are we in a nutshell, now comparing to what we used to have?
Well, the troops are still there, but I'm not happy with the equipment they are using.
Okay.
And UN will not pay us if your truck is not serviceable. Just a truck, like indicators and so on. If you don't have those trucks in good state, you don't claim.
Okay.
Then that affects also the morale of the soldiers. But the key here is the training. I'm not happy with the standard of training of our troops. I once served as a deputy chairperson of the Defense Force Service Commission.
Yes.
You remember when there was a mutiny against the government when President Zuma was still in charge.
Yes.
So I was called to intervene. So we went to all these bases with I think we were about 5 to convince the soldiers, say, listen, this. But I agreed to participate and help, not for payment for myself, but I said, if we agree that the soldiers will obey the orders, we want to make sure that you deliver. And indeed, we started on the 1st of October that year. By 15th of December that particular year, all their problems were solved. So if you are told to attack a target, you have to make an appreciation and plan and plan and plan. Once you finish your plan, then you cost it and then put time frames. Then you come up to the commanders who is going to implement this. Unlike this thing of, you see, this thing is frustrating. I always listen to these SONA statements and promises.
Yes.
And then you know that we don't have capacity to implement this because the DGs we have are tokens. The ministers have usurped the powers of the accounting officer. And some of the political directives from the ministers are laced with corruption.
I think we need to move to I think we're going to elections. The date has been announced. The interesting debate. People have touted it as the elections, 29 May. How are you, as the UDM, do you see elections going?
Well, I hope that firstly, between now and 29th of May, there will be no intimidation that our elections will go and campaigns will go smoothly. In terms of the people as to whether they are ready to change the government, I think we will depend on the surveys we see on the ground. People have shown us that they are not happy with the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
So the current establishments need to be shaken a little bit. I foresee, therefore, that the South Africans will say, never again shall we put our eggs in one basket. No more one-party dominance, because one-party dominance breeds corruption. In doing so, it means we might see for the first time coalitions at national level.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at coalitions at local government, people are fearing that it might be the same or worse.
To bring instability.
At national level, I don't think so, because when you are a president, you will have a choice to choose good quality people from different political parties and make sure that you come up with a strong team. But however, the way I see it, I think there will be three streams if we talk coalition. A stream led by ANC and its alliance partners, a stream led by DA, and then a stream on the far left, which is still an amoeba shape. But you can see that it's coming.
Are we talking MK?
Exactly.
No, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure, but don't underestimate what President Zuma has done. It has completely changed the political landscape of the country. The advantage with that is that thing of MK, the MK, is led by people who understands the passage of the struggle.
Yeah.
That's the credit for MK.
Yeah.
Unlike other parties which are coming now, wherein the majority citizens of the country will say, we fought for this freedom. So it's not going to be easy to just give a baton to someone they don't know.
Who's rising?
Yes, so but the beauty about this is that if, for instance, you were to say MK, EFF, PAC, AZAPO, and ATM and other parties, UDM, if we can be on that side, definitely we will be representing the interest of those who have been marginalized for years. How do you mean by marginalized? Marginalization is like to say to the South Africans, here is 60 million plus blacks.
Yeah.
You allow these people to queue to get jobs from 3 million controlled white companies.
Yes.
Not even that 3 million of whites own each a company. So, which means in the last 30 years, we did not invest in our own people as industrialists or as people who are going to do beneficiation. That means education and invest in them. So therefore, there will have to be a paradigm shift in the next 5 years. So that straitjacket which we have been wearing or which ANC has been put to us, there has to be a breakout of that. And the way to do so, the only thing which I think can work is the government of national unity. If, for instance, Party A wins, let's say with majority, 50+1, if I were the president of that organization or party, I would still say, I need so-and-so is good from that party. So-and-so can make a good minister of finance. I must invite him. Notwithstanding the fact that I've got majority. But the voters, the way I feel on the ground, are going to cause for us to work together. So, but there's a big challenge which is ahead of us. South Africans are all over. We are no longer united as we used to. And we also notice that there are signs of tribalism and racism showing its ugly head. So we will have to talk unity, but the key, like I said in my manifesto, is to focus on rebuilding South Africa. The theme between now must be to rebuild. We need to make sure that in the next 18 to 24 months, we have a forum of a dialogue of some kind, wherein we say item number one is economy. Under economy is land, is crime, education, and then unemployment. That means the economy, what are the spin-off from that? So that unity of purpose, it cannot be an event for a weekend. Stretch it up to 24 months if you can, where everybody, what is the role of traditional leaders? What is the role of men? Do you understand this constitution that it has got rights? Or you misinterpret it to say it's your right to trample my rights?
I want to push you to that, especially when on that, to say, I mean, there's almost, I think, 10 million people that normally who stay away from voting. This we call undecided voters. What will make, from the UDM standpoint, what will make them sway their votes to make sure that these people come and vote for UDM?
It will depend as to whether they have listened to us when we were delivering our manifesto, because our manifesto, we are not interested in lamenting all the way, but we are addressing the how question, how part. If you say there's unemployment or there's crime, how do we deal with that? That's what those voters will want to hear.
Let's hold it.
So in other words, it's about messaging.
Nyaniso wanted to talk about the tangible, practical steps that the UDM is proposing to say, this is how we'll make sure that we create employment. Having a lot of unemployment in our country. What are the practical steps?
I think firstly, as we have outlined in our manifesto, is that this country needs to make sure that it invests in its citizens, in particular the majority citizens.
Yes.
There are various ways of doing that. There are various sectors. Agriculture is agro-industry, is beneficiation. We've been talking about these things, but no one is starting. So if you say we are going to invest in our black people, it means that your priorities, your budget priorities will have to change. We will change if we're in government. How? Firstly, you need to establish a national fund where, if, for instance, you have qualified as a person who can be involved in textile industries. Yes. There we will say to you, you have certificate, you have done your courses, you have done courses for welding, you have done courses for textile, and so on and so on. But where are you going to get the capital?
Yes.
It is for that reason that we are calling for the establishment of a national fund. Not to use the money for like IDC, taking money from PIC and only help the elite. But now let's go deeper down. But we must change this mentality that is we are studying in order to go and get a job. But we must invest in these kids as future wealth creators.
To be entrepreneurs.
Yeah. So in that way, we will be able now to spread. Because if you are producing goods here like uniform, Next person, you are going to need people to pack those goods. The next thing is transport. So it's a chain, but you are changing the narrative. You say, I want to produce our own, like the Afrikaners did. 1948, they were poor like us, but they established capital or access to capital. Now, if you want to start something, you have to go to a Standard Bank or ABSA or this and that. But if we have a national fund, which is going to be divided along the 9 provinces. Secondly, is the question of infrastructure. If I want to have a business in Mbanduli or in Limpopo and Lipalale, Tontun and so on.
This man will complain.
Yeah. At least the basic infrastructure, that means you must roll out a broadband so that I can have access to internet and place an order in my home for whatever I need. Thirdly, we have to review all these international conventions, because some of the international conventions we have signed have opened floods, we have opened gates, and we are flooded by countries which are dumping.
Your Asian country.
But you cannot go to USA and dump your chicken. You can't go to France and dump vegetables there. Nor can you go to China. It's high time that we must be patriotic and say, no, we need a little bit of protection because our own people, we are training our own. No one can falter you on that.
Practically, how would you do that? Would you have a law that says we're no longer allowing people to come and trade?
No, you're not saying that. But you restrict.
Okay.
For instance, these Hong Kongers which are entering our country in the borders, that means our harbors are not manned by qualified people, or the level of corruption is high. So you stop that. And then people now will sell goods which are manufactured here. Why must we take the coal out and manganese out every day instead of processing it here?
Why do you think that is not happening? Why? I mean, we've got mineral resources for days, Why has it never been thought that
there has not been a political will on the part of the powers that be? They have been saying this on public platforms, but you hardly see them. What you should do in that case is to say, government of China, let's have a partnership. We will send people to be trained by you for the next 18 months.
Okay.
When they come back, those people will say, all right, we are qualified. Where are we going to operate from?
Okay.
Then the government, this is where now the state intervention in the economy kicks in. Either our Bantu mabebuya, where's the factory? Where's the shelter? What kind of capital? We're not going to give you money. In kind, we'll buy equipment. In kind, we'll rent for you for 6 months. After that, you run on your own.
Okay. Crime is one of the things that are rampant, and they will threaten everything. Even if people find jobs or they have their own businesses, crime remains a serious issue which threatens stability in the country. I want to know, how would you deal with crime? How would you make sure that crime is reduced to a point that there is no country in the country? There's no crime in the country.
Well, you depend on the training of your law enforcement agencies. And also you depend as to whether the criminal justice system is working in this country. Currently, none of those is working. No criminal justice. You are arrested today for rape. Tomorrow, you are released. Then you go back to that witness again, or witnesses. So there's no follow-up. Because if you are arrested, you should be appearing in court. and then your case must not take more than 6 months or a year. I mean, you did this incident, and then
So within 6 months, everything
it should be, at least people will be able to say, yes, at least the consequences, the government is acting, is on top of the crime. Also, you need to talk to the lawyers. Lawyers in this country, there are lawyers in this country whose duty is only to collect money from the clients, and then they go and postpone cases.
Yeah.
Postpone. You also get the same thing from the prosecutors, where you'll find that the prosecution leaves much to be desired. That means a lack of training. So all these institutions need to be overhauled.
You know, we've spoken about
But besides that, you still have to talk to the people who gave you a mandate.
Yes.
To say, please, you said I must be your head of government. You must run the affairs here. Please help me. That means if you invest on crime intelligence,
yes,
and you have a good rapport with your citizens, then crime is harm.
Other than mentioning the things that you've mentioned, why else would a voter vote for the UDM? We've got 250-something registered political parties. I don't know how many of those are going to contest elections. It was 42, including independents. It was 42 last time. We don't know now. What is it that you would say of the 200-odd-something registered political parties is unique about the UDM? Why must a voter, when presented with a ballot paper this long, why must they search for the UDM? What is it that will make them leave their home, go and cast their vote, still remembering UDM?
They will remember us because UDM has been betting on a wicket of anti-corruption and promoting ethics of good governance. It is the UDM and other parties who have exposed the shenanigans of the present government. It was the UDM, for instance, which called for the IEC chairperson to leave. It was the UDM who introduced to do away with floor crossing legislation. It was the UDM. It was the UDM which also dealt with the secret balloting. It is the UDM also which has been advocating for this legislation for funding political parties that people must declare. So we have been occupying the crease, and we are still occupying it. We have hit them for 6s and 4s.
Yeah. The last question for me, Mr. Holomisa. Come 29 May and people go and vote. Are you coming back as the UDM? Will we see you occupying parliament?
The UDM is going to come back with more seats than the current ones. We've got 2 seats now. So that one you cannot discard.
Can you put the numbers? How many?
I'm not interested in putting numbers. Let's leave that to the voters. But what I'm sure of is that we are the only political party which has been consistent in the messaging to say, don't cheat the people of South Africa. Don't misuse state resources. Plow back take this money and develop roads, infrastructure, everything. So that is UDM. You can go to our website. Every day I deal with the issues of national importance, where people right here, we ask, please help us on this. Now I'm dealing with the ex-mine workers. I'm dealing with the pensioners, ex-civil servants, who they feel that they were robbed. Indeed, they were robbed. You can't join a government in 1970 and then when you retire, they calculate your pension as if you have joined in 1996. They have stolen that money which they took over from asset management companies and transfer that money to GPF, and then they appointed PIC to invest those monies. Then PIC is nothing else but a piggy bank for the comrades.
I just want your comment on this. At some point recently, the things that possessions which belong to Tatu Mandela, where there was a threat that there was going to be an auction. A law firm in which Tatu Mandela and Tatu Tambo functioned in Johannesburg as lawyers is also in a state of disarray, and nobody's looking after them. Do you think there's a threat of wiping off the history, key important aspects relating to Tatu Mandela? And what is your view on that? How do you think his legacy is being managed by those who have access to it?
No, I don't think there's a threat. You can't undo the Mandela effect, whether you like it or not. Had it not been for him, we wouldn't be here now. And militarily speaking, as I've said, we were nowhere near that we can liberate South Africa. So, but we must thank President Gorbachev of USA then, and we must thank President Reagan of USA and President of Russia, Gorbachev, who in 1985 agreed that let's do away with Cold War. And as a result, Chester Crocker was appointed to oversee the freedom of Namibia. In 1990, on the 21st of March, they were freed. And I was doing a staff course here at Army College. We're the first blacks to have been admitted in that staff course from Transkei government. I told it when we were doing a study, discussing issues of revolution and so on. I told them that now that the Cold War is over, those leaders have told Pretoria to get out of Angola. Don't even stay in Namibia. They must go and consolidate in Pretoria. Cubans were told, go back to Cuba. ANC was told to go back to Uganda. And then I said to them, I bet within 10 years, South Africa will be free. I said so to those, because it was clear. Pretoria was a blue-eyed boy of the West. So now that the Cold War was over, it was given. And then Madiba and started his things, and O.R. Tambo and ANC in exile to negotiate. So how do you undo a legacy of those people unless you are not okay?
But is it being looked after? I mean, if his office from which operated threatens to be sold, or it's not, the government is failing to look after it.
Those are symbols.
Those are small things.
Stop talking about high-level gossip. The government has to make sure that the history of South Africa is preserved. Not Mandela, everybody, or Tambo, even dictators like Holomisa, we must feature them.
We thank you for joining us.
Thanks.
And we wish you luck with the elections. Maybe we're going to see you being sworn in as president of the country.
No. I don't want one party.
Because you've been watching the shots, keep following us. We are busy talking to everyone who wishes to have an interest in building this country and taking it further. Stay tuned and follow us on social media, on all the platforms. Bye-bye.